The horrific assassination of former South African Minister Nathi Mthethwa has taken a deeply disturbing and dramatic turn after authorities in Paris confirmed the arrest of the man believed to have fired the fatal shot. After days of relentless investigation and coordination at the highest levels of international law enforcement, French police finally achieved the breakthrough that South Africans and observers around the world had been anxiously awaiting. According to information released by Paris police, the suspect, described as a professional hitman in his 30s, was arrested in the early hours of the morning during a carefully planned sting operation just outside Gare du Nord, one of Europe's busiest transport hubs. Investigators revealed that the suspect had been under close surveillance for more than 48 hours after a critical lead emerged from newly obtained CCTV footage, which showed a man matching his description fleeing the scene of the deadly shooting outside a luxury Paris hotel where Mthethwa was ambushed and killed days earlier. Authorities believe the suspect was preparing to leave France using forged travel documents and multiple false identities, but intensive monitoring by French intelligence services left him with no escape. When elite tactical units eventually raided the safe house where the suspect had been hiding, they encountered evidence that painted a chilling picture of meticulous planning and ruthless precision. Inside the apartment, officers allegedly discovered 2 loaded pistols, large quantities of ammunition, several fake passports, and more than €100,000 in cash, believed to be part of the payment for the killing. Even more alarming were the encrypted phones and digital devices seized during the raid. Forensic specialists from the French Cybercrime Division later confirmed that one of the computers contained encrypted messages and detailed financial transactions linking the suspect to figures described as highly influential within South Africa's political and business elite. During his initial interrogation, the suspect reportedly broke under sustained questioning and confessed to carrying out the assassination, admitting that he had been hired to kill Nathi Mthethwa. The confession reportedly sent shockwaves through the Paris Police Department, not only because of the graphic detail with which the killing was described, but also because of the identity of the individuals the suspect claimed had commissioned and financed the murder. Investigative sources have indicated that the suspect told authorities he was hired by a senior South African political leader, someone with considerable influence across government institutions and the private sector. According to investigators, the payment for the assassination was funneled through a complex web of offshore accounts connected to shell companies registered in Dubai, Cyprus, and Switzerland, a structure deliberately designed to conceal the true mastermind behind the plot. One senior French investigator described the operation as one of the most sophisticated political assassination financing networks seen in recent years. Interpol's Financial Crimes Division has since become actively involved, tracing the flow of funds through several international banks with the assistance of South African intelligence agencies and European anti-corruption bodies. The scale and complexity of the money trail have raised serious concerns about the depth of planning involved and the number of powerful individuals who may have been aware of, or complicit in, the plot. Authorities are also examining whether the killing was connected to any ongoing corruption investigations or political disputes in which Mthethwa may have been involved prior to his death. Investigators believe the gunman did not act alone. French officials now claim that at least 3 accomplices were involved in the operation, including a getaway driver, a lookout, and an intermediary who facilitated logistics and communication. CCTV footage reportedly shows 2 additional men lingering outside the hotel minutes before the shooting, with one appearing to issue instructions via an earpiece to the main suspect, strongly suggesting a coordinated and professional operation. The murder weapon, believed to be a silenced 9mm pistol, was later recovered from a nearby river after a local fisherman alerted police. Forensic analysis confirmed that the firearm was used in the killing, further strengthening the case against the arrested suspect and reinforcing the theory of a well-organized hit. Back in South Africa, news of the arrest triggered immediate political turmoil. Senior ANC officials were reportedly thrust into emergency crisis meetings within hours of the announcement. Party insiders claim that some of Mthethwa's closest colleagues had raised alarms weeks earlier, alleging they had received anonymous threats and warnings connected to him. One high-ranking official, speaking on condition of anonymity, told reporters that Mthethwa knew too much and possessed information that could have implicated powerful individuals. According to this source, his death was not random but carefully planned to silence him. These revelations fueled widespread public anger and outrage. Within minutes of the news breaking, hashtags such as #JusticeForNathi and #ParisArrest began trending across social media platforms, as citizens, activists, and journalists demanded transparency, accountability, and justice. Many South Africans have come to believe that Mthethwa's assassination was not an isolated tragedy but part of a broader conspiracy aimed at silencing whistleblowers who had begun exposing entrenched networks of corruption within state institutions. The French Ministry of Justice confirmed that it is working closely with South African authorities to ensure full transparency in the investigation. Officials from both countries are expected to hold a joint press conference in the coming days to outline the findings so far, including details of the financial trails, communication records, and potential political motives uncovered during the probe. Members of the Mthethwa family, while still in shock, expressed a mixture of relief and sorrow following the arrest. One family representative stated that their only wish was for the truth to come out and for everyone involved, including those who ordered and funded the killing, to face justice. Behind the scenes, however, fear and panic are said to be spreading among South Africa's political and business elite. Reports suggest that several prominent figures have quietly retained legal counsel in anticipation of being drawn into the expanding investigation. An intelligence source claimed that many powerful individuals are deeply anxious, realizing that the case could unravel a long-standing web of corruption, espionage, and betrayal that has operated for years. Political analysts believe the implications could be seismic. If investigators are able to corroborate the suspect's claims about who ordered the assassination, it could expose bitter internal battles within the ANC, fracture long-standing political alliances, and potentially lead to arrests or forced resignations at the highest levels of government. Others have warned that the fallout could extend beyond domestic politics, straining South Africa's diplomatic relations with France, the European Union, and other international partners who expect accountability and the rule of law to be upheld. For ordinary South Africans, Mthethwa's murder has become a stark reminder of the dangers faced by those who challenge corruption and entrenched power. Across townships and major cities, citizens have begun holding vigils, calling for reform, and demanding an end to political violence. One Johannesburg resident, speaking during a televised interview, captured the public mood by saying that the case was not about one man alone, but about a system that silences truth-tellers, driven by power, greed, and deception that has already claimed too many lives. Interpol has since issued global arrest warrants for several other suspects believed to have played logistical roles in the assassination. Among them is a shadowy intermediary suspected of arranging the hitman's visa, accommodation, and financial transfers. Intelligence reports suggest that at least one accomplice may have fled to North Africa, prompting cooperation with authorities in Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia to track possible movements. As the investigation deepens, what began as a national scandal has transformed into a global political thriller. Each new revelation, every intercepted phone call, every traced wire transfer, and every decrypted message reveals the vast and dangerous scope of the conspiracy. What was once a single murder case has evolved into an international effort to expose networks of political corruption, contract killings, and financial crimes spanning multiple continents. For investigators, the next phase will be critical, focusing on following the money, identifying the true mastermind, and determining how high the chain of responsibility reaches. The outcome could reshape South Africa's political future and profoundly affect the country's standing on the global stage. For now, the world watches and waits. Nathan Mthethwa's murder is no longer viewed solely as a criminal act but as a symbol of betrayal, enforced silence, and moral decay at the highest levels of power. As layer after layer is stripped away, one grim truth becomes increasingly clear: this was not a random act of violence. It was a calculated political assassination, carefully planned, funded, and executed by individuals with the power, resources, and motive to do so. The growing realization that power itself may have played a role in silencing one of its own serves as a disturbing reminder of how far some are willing to go to protect their secrets, even if it means undermining the very principles of justice and accountability they publicly claim to uphold.